Well, to talk more about how the pandemic has forced everyone to rethink their summer vacations, we're joined by Minkyung Park, Associate Professor of Tourism and Events Management at George Mason University. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So we're seeing this spike in domestic tourism amid COVID-19 travel restrictions. Where are people going, and what are the main reasons the sector is seeing such growth?
Well, we can find main reasons from psychological factors as well as consumers' behavioral change. Research found that 70% of Americans miss traveling and they cannot wait to get out and travel again. I think this is what people in many other countries would also feel. However, there are still restrictions on international travel. Borders are still closed in many parts of the world. Even if you are allowed to travel, many countries require testing or 2 weeks of self-quarantine. International travel is just a hassle and uncertain and unsafe. Another psychological factor in a pandemic situation like this is that people want to stay close to home. They want to avoid air travel, prefer travel by car. Traveling by your own car or by yourself with only your family feels much safer.
And with all those travel restrictions internationally, we're seeing a lot of countries redesigning their tourism packages to attract local and domestic visitors. What are some of the biggest campaigns that you've seen launched so far?
Well, some examples I can think of right now include campaigns from the US, China, Japan, and Europe. In the US, many states launched or plan to launch tourism campaigns for local visitors. For example, Virginia launched the Wanderlove campaign aimed at local travelers. With this campaign, they offer 50 grants to their local partners. In China, China's Trip.com group only has created a 500 million fund to help airlines, hotels, and other partners. And in Japan, I think many newspapers are mentioned, including CGTN tonight. They will launch Go to Travel campaign, which is a subsidy campaign that will eventually subsidize up to half of expenses, including accommodation and transport fees. In Europe, the European Travel Commission launched the We Are Europe tourism campaign in June. This is media campaign designed to inspire people to get ready to travel again as travel restrictions across Europe are gradually being eased.
Now, even before the pandemic, we did also see a consumer trend favoring some of these smaller boutique hotels and Airbnb and things like that. Now that preference seems to be even more prevalent. And a lot of the perks that you would usually get at staying at one of these big hotel chains, they've now been scaled back for safety reasons. So how are the current varying comfort levels going to shape chain hospitality companies?
Well, according to research done by a McKinsey consulting firm, not necessarily all large chain hotels will suffer. Luxury hotels and upper upscale hotels seem to be slow to grow, but recover. But mid-scale and economy chains will be doing relatively well with domestic travel coming back. A good deal of research says that consumers want intense room cleaning as a top action to see from hotels to protect guests. Thus, companies also need to ensure consumers feel safe about cleaning hotel rooms.
So then, does this offer an opportunity for some of these smaller local businesses or smaller boutique hotels to profit from this shift?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And we know that even though some industries are doing well, we have seen a drop in things like rental cars and some of these other secondary hospitality sectors as people are really prioritizing their safety, as, for example, with rental cars being safe in your own vehicle. But discuss the type of businesses that could see a boost due to growth in domestic tourism.
Well, obviously, auto travel will be dominant, and the auto-related industries might be taking some benefits. And as you mentioned, the RVs and camping cars are in short supply right now, as a matter of fact. So those are the fields that will be taking advantage.
And so I want to talk about now some of the long-term impacts that we might see on the travel industry as travelers weigh all these different options.
Well, just looking back, after 9/11 happened, it changed the security process at the airport permanently. Similarly, when the pandemic ends, some consumer behavioral changes are expected to be permanent. It'll permanently change perceptions and expectations about the safety and cleaning practices of airplanes, hotels, some attractions, and how acceptable consumers find them.
And just very quickly, we have about 15 seconds. To what extent does focusing on the domestic tourism offset some of the losses from international tourism?
Well, domestic tourism, as a matter of fact, more directly benefit small communities and small businesses compared to international travelers. International travels more benefit, big players such as multinational hotel chains and airlines, whereas domestic travelers definitely benefit local restaurants, local retail, Airbnb, these short-term rentals such as Airbnb. So definitely more directly involved in small businesses.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Minkyung Park there, Associate Professor of Tourism and Events Management at George Mason University.